And hello, welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Coming up, we'll talk about a devastating fire in Melrose and how the 3rd Avenue bid is providing support for impacted businesses. After that, we'll discuss how one company is ensuring Black and brown women receive the respectful and dignified maternity care they deserve. Following that, we'll delve into how one school is helping families understand the application process and making a difference in the lives of students and their families. And lastly, we'll highlight a transformative initiative making a significant impact on the future of young students in New York City. So stay tuned, because all this and much more is heading your way, because right now we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime. You are now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off with transportation news. Gun detectors could appear in New York City subway stations as early as today, this according to the NYPD. The department is launching a pilot program at select stations, though the exact locations are being kept confidential to prevent compromising the program's effectiveness. The detectors will first be installed at stations already conducting bag checks and will initially be tested at one location before expanding. This initiative is part of a broader effort to improve transit security. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has indicated, if successful, the gun detector program could eventually be rolled out across all subway stations in the city. In other news, car thefts are on the rise in the Bronx. According to new data by the AAA, the NYPD's reported over 2,200 auto thefts this year, including more than 100 just last week. Many residents have experienced break-ins, including broken windows, stolen items, and missing cars. To prevent theft, AAA recommends locking doors, closing windows, parking in well-lit areas, as well as taking valuables with you, using a tracking device, and also keeping key fobs away from your vehicle. In education news, the city announced a plan to introduce student Omni cards for the upcoming school year. Now, these cards will replace the current student Metro cards and remove existing restrictions. Students can ride up to for free to 4 times a day, anytime, all year round. The change aims to help students avoid extra transfer costs and provide more opportunities to explore the city. Mayor Adams highlighted this initiative will also address fare evasion issues in the city that they've been facing. Now, he emphasized it's a preventative measure to ensure students don't feel compelled to jump the turnstile. Well, that's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We got more Open when we return.
Hey, creative family, my name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm the Director of Education here at BronxNet. And I'm standing in BronxNet's Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx, because I want to let you know about an amazing program that we're bringing back that highlights the creativity of community members just like you. Emerging Media Makers is a show that introduces you to BronxNet's certified producers. They've taken a step in their creative journey by enrolling in BronxNet's media training classes. On this show, you'll get to see the many ways that our certified producers have created a space that's all their own. Emerging Media Makers, your passion lives here.
And we are back. A fire broke out inside a Dunkin' Donuts recently on 3rd Avenue in the Melrose section of the Bronx, quickly spreading to adjacent businesses. The blaze required hours of intense firefighting efforts, resulting in minor injuries to 3 firefighters and leaving a trail of destruction and economic hardship for the affected businesses. In the aftermath, the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District has mobilized coordinating support and resources for the impacted business owners, showcasing the community's resilience and, of course, the determination to rebuild. Joining us now is the Executive Director of the 3rd Avenue BID, Pedro Suarez. And Pedro, thank you for being with us. And I know it's a tough time for those in the Melrose District. Talk to me a little bit about where we are right now.
Yeah, so thanks again for having me today. In terms of where the businesses are right now, they're looking for new space at this point. The building had, to our understanding, complete damage. And even if the building is renovated, we're talking about a process that could take anywhere from 1 to several years. And so the conversations that we've had with businesses is really focused on shifting gears and saying, okay, can we find a new space, ideally within the district, and what is it going to take to be able to do that financially and logistically?
And when we talk about financially and logistically, obviously business owners are taking a hard hit. The community is taking a hard hit. Talk to me about the economic destruction that's really taking place as a result of this fire.
Yeah, I mean, we had conversations with the business owners several times already over the past month. And I would estimate that, we're talking about, several $1 million a year lost in potential revenue and economic impact for the local community. Approximately 6 businesses were impacted by this fire. Holland Textiles, a Chinese restaurant, New China restaurant, and a discount store, and a designer who was also housed in the textile store as well, an entrepreneur. And then obviously the Dunkin' Donuts was also impacted. So, a large number of businesses impacted by this fire, and we really want to assist them in that transition period.
So there's the talk of relocating, finding them an existing place. What plans are in place right now? What's the day-to-day? Are there conversations with, potential places in the area?
Yes, so one of the great things about having a business improvement district is that property owners are on our board of directors. And so we have relationships with property owners, the major property owners in the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District. So in my role, what I've been doing is introducing the businesses to the property owners, to their brokers, to identify a space. And, it's up to them to figure out the right space for what they need. But the hope is that they'll be able to identify spaces as close as possible to the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District, which runs from 148th Street to 153rd along 3rd Avenue.
Yeah. I think when people normally think of fire, the first thing I think is, okay, insurance. But after insurance, there's so much more that's needed. And I think unless a person's actually experienced fire in their own life, they would never know. And then when you talk about commercially, it's a totally different ballgame. So for yourself and those that are working with you, talk to me about the support services and initiatives that you guys have wrapped around to try to sustain these businesses in their time of struggle.
Yeah, I mean, insurance is something that we talk about because not every business really thinks about the extent of the insurance. So for example, Holland Textiles had a shipment, $100,000 of inventory the day before the fire. That was completely destroyed, and insurance didn't cover all of that. So it's also thinking about not just the standard insurance, but for your inventory, thinking about how you're going to insure that and really create systems for being able to recoup that in emergencies. And so also thinking ahead, having a savings, having an emergency fund, being able to think, 6 months of expenses to have that in case of emergencies like that, because it's New York City, right? A fire, although not super common, is not totally uncommon, right? And so insurance is the first step, and then we rallied with the New York City Department of Small Business Services. They actually have an emergency response team. Not many major cities have an emergency response team. We might be one of the few, if not only in the United States, that has an emergency response team. And so Bernadette Nation, who I know very well from my previous work with the Department of Small Business Services, helps businesses through all kinds of emergencies: hurricanes, floods, fires, you name it. And she was on site that day. And so in addition to insurance, also connecting them to free legal advice to have the businesses review their lease, because that was also the question that was coming up, is what recourses do they have in terms of the deposit that they put with the property owner and the landlord. And so reviewing the lease is really, really important. And so they sat down with legal advisors around that. And then the next step is really the financial conversation of figuring out what's the financial need to relocating, getting their equipment, their inventory back up and running, because the businesses have shared that their customers are reaching out. These are viable, successful businesses.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke about all that needs to go into this right now. What is the mood and the emotions of those business owners? I know you're in daily contact.
Yeah, so it's traumatic, right? One of the difficult things is that first day, we really didn't want to press too much or ask too many questions or engage them too much, because we wanted to give them space. They were literally there watching their businesses burn to the ground. And so after that, the following Monday, I think the fire was on a Friday morning, the Monday we met, and I think it was just, I don't want to say therapy because we're not therapists, but just creating a space for the businesses to talk amongst each other, to talk with us, to listen, just to create that safe space. And really, really grateful to Community Board 1, Anthony Jordan and Clarissa Alayeto, for letting us use their space to have that meeting. And they've been also coordinating with us at the Community Board 1 and really just talking to them. Very traumatic. I mean, there was tears, they were crying, just because these businesses, most of them have been there longer than a decade. And they all know each other on that corner. So they have relationships with each other. Right. Really, really tough, because every day that their businesses are closed, they're losing money. And so it's really, really tough. And that's why I wanted to also make sure that we really didn't waste any time in connecting them to services and really having, as difficult as it may be, conversations around insurance, around legal questions, and around the financial need. And that's part of the planning process. The reason why you want to plan for emergencies ahead of time is because it's traumatic. And it's very difficult in the moment, if you don't have a plan, to start thinking about those things. And so that's why we really, really, coming out of this, really want to encourage people to, plan for these types of emergencies. You hope that they don't happen, but in those moments of trauma, you want to make sure you have a plan in place.
Yeah, well, I mean, going further on that, what lessons can we really take away from this? Because it's an unfortunate incident, very tragic, very traumatic, but at the same time, we could also glean some things for future, particularly for any business owner or entrepreneur that's watching.
Yeah, I mean, one of the tough things is we're still waiting for the fire department to release the results of their investigation. So we still don't know at this point in time the cause of the fire, and so we don't want to speculate, and we don't want to say anything that would be incorrect. But I think overall, there are many, many opportunities and free resources out there to make sure that you're conducting your business operations as safely as possible. And so, the fire department has a great, phenomenal team, and we're grateful for them putting out the fire. But in addition to that, making sure that you're taking all precautions. And again, we don't know what the cause of the fire is, but you can still be proactive without knowing what the cause of the fire is, right? So for all businesses, all entrepreneurs, making sure that they're following all city and state, regulations, doing regular inspections, depending on the types of materials that they have. And then, I think once we have a better understanding of what caused the fire, if it was preventable, the next step is for the bid is to make sure that all businesses in the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District have the information on how to prevent a fire like this if it was preventable. If it wasn't preventable, then it's really more conversation around making sure that you have the appropriate insurance, that you're planning for emergencies, that you're building your reserves. We recommend at least 6 months for occasions like that, so that at least when a fire like that doesn't happen, it doesn't completely debilitate you, and you're able to at least pivot, relocate.
We've talked about businesses, supportive services. We talked about organizations that actually have come to the aid. Talk to me a little bit about the community and what the community has done to be a support to these businesses, because, yes, they're the ones who patronize these businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and it's kind of bittersweet, because the business owners, particularly of Holland Textiles and the discount store, said that it was kind of difficult talking to their customers because it was just a reminder of the trauma and they almost couldn't be in the area on a daily basis because customers were constantly coming up to them and, in meaning well, right, wishing them well and giving them support. But it was a lot. It was a lot to sort of take in. But I think customers and the community in general, patrons have been very supportive and want to know what they can do to support the businesses and local institutions as well. The Bronx Economic Development Corporation, BXEDC, was in communication with us immediately about what can we do to help. And we met with them and the businesses just last week to talk about low interest loans to help them through this transitionary period. And they're doing everything they can to meet with the businesses and see what they could qualify for.
So in terms of timeline, what are you looking at in terms of before we possibly could even see rebuild, restructuring, just things back to a sense of normalcy? I know it's relatively fresh, but have you been given any particular timeline as to how long this process may go on?
I haven't been given a specific timeline, and I think that it's really up to also the property owner and what they decide to do, whether they're going to, completely gut and renovate the building. I think there's a question, right, as to what will become of the building, right? I don't think that it's realistic to expect that all of the businesses that were there are just going to automatically go back to that location, especially since it's too long of a period to wait. I mean, I would say that it could take anywhere from 6 months to 3 years to really rebuild if we're talking about a total gut renovation and a new building, and the city's licensing and permit process. So we're pivoting and we're thinking more about just relocation at this point, because every day, like I said earlier, that the businesses are closed, they're losing money. And so we want to make sure that we find a suitable location within the area so that they don't lose their customer base, because these are businesses, like I said, that have been around for 10 plus years. But ideally, we would like to support the businesses in identifying a space, hopefully within the next month. And then I'm told on the financial side from BXEDC that it could take anywhere from 30 to 60 days, the application and approval process, but they're doing their best to expedite that process for these specific businesses.
Yeah, well, Pedro, definitely our thoughts and our well wishes go out to those in the community. Real tough loss, I know, but you guys are on it, and thank goodness for a supportive network. And come back, keep us updated. Anything we can do to spread the word, we'll be glad to do it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, all right. Pedro Suarez, who is the executive director of the 3rd Avenue bid. Now, again, the fire cause is under investigation. We want you to know, if you want more information, please go ahead and visit the website at thirdavenuebid.org. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. Guess what? We got more open coming up right after this. And we are back. Since its founding in 1998, the Bronx Health Link has been a beacon of hope and a hub for health equity, amplifying the voices of residents and community-based organizations. The organization has founded and provided essential services as well as education that addresses critical issues like maternal health, infant mortality, and overall community wellness. Here now to share more, we've got the Bronx Health Link's Administrative Director, Shirley Leyro, and then also Evelyn Caceres, and we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So when we talk about the Bronx Health Link, obviously a great organization, been around for a minute, but talk to us really about these intentional services that you have, particularly, you're fighting for health equity.
Mm-hmm. So our main focus is maternal health, and in particular Black maternal health. We know that the numbers with respect to Black and brown women with maternal morbidity and mortality are super high, especially in the Bronx. So the way in which we trying to address these disparities is through education, actual programming, advocacy, and community outreach. So for example, our programming is very education focused. We try to address how to have a healthy pregnancy and also how to have healthy babies and therefore families and communities, right, at the end of the day. So we have breastfeeding workshops, how, and really part of that breastfeeding initiative is to increase breastfeeding in the Bronx. We have the lowest rates of breastfeeding in the entire city, in the Bronx. Yeah. And breastfeeding is essential. It's actually very healthy, but there are some myths attached to it.
Right.
So for example, I was raised believing that breastfeeding starves your child. You're not feeding your child enough, and that's actually not true. So part of it is educating on the realities of breastfeeding and how to do it properly. You're supposed to get a little bit of training at birth, right after you give birth, but everyone's busy. Sometimes the baby doesn't latch, and then people give up. Right. And so part of our workshops is to show you how to not give up and have successful breastfeeding. We have safe sleep workshops, how to put your baby to sleep safely, and that way you can avoid really tragic incidents. We have baby wearing workshops, which is, in a city like New York, city of stairs, you don't necessarily have to lug your stroller all over the place. It's actually more comfortable. You can bond with your baby. You can do it safely. You can wear your baby all day and do it safely, and it won't be uncomfortable. So we have baby wearing workshops.
Well, let me bring Evelyn real quickly. Let's ask this question, because when we talk about this, right, there's an assumption that basically most people know what they're doing. But the reality is a lot of people don't, and they need that support. Are people surprised by the fact that they're not the only ones that don't get it, don't understand it?
Yeah. So as a CHW of the TBH program, the Bronx Health Link, this is one of my my job, to let them know what to do, and where to go when they need the help. And I have moms that they don't know. And so our job is to teach them and to how to advocate when they, for example, as a Black and brown moms, when we are at the hospital, sometimes we don't know what to do, when to say yes, when to say no. So we have that job to let them know, like, fight for your rights. You have the rights.
Right.
Don't stay quiet. And also, when they take our workshops, it's not just because we have after they take our workshops, they get a gift, incentives. It's not just to have the bags of diaper they get or the pack and play they have.
Right.
While they take after they take our workshops is to know, to get the knowledge, after what to do, how to breastfeed your baby, how to put the baby to sleep, then they don't get hurt or pass away, or
Right. So, and I like that, because in a certain way you're talking about not just giving them the awareness, but also giving them the tools and the advocacy that they actually need. And I guess from what I'm hearing is a lot of people who come through the door really don't even know their rights.
Absolutely. And, we partner with the Department of Health on the Birth Justice Defenders program. We are the Bronx hub of that program, and a big part of it is letting people know what the standards of respectful care at birth are, right? And part of that is consent. You have a right to say no. Sometimes, it's kind of a stressful situation when you're at the hospital giving birth, and you have what's happening to you, to your body, what you're expecting, and then you have people coming into the room telling you what to do. Sometimes you don't necessarily know what's happening, and you don't realize that you can actually say no to this procedure, or you have a right to say, well, what is involved in this C-section? Do I really need it? What are the consequences? We know that C-sections sometimes get a little over-prescribed in many situations, and you have a right to know exactly what you're getting into. So the advocacy part is really essential. And we try to provide a toolkit, right, to give you kind of, not everyone knows how to advocate for themselves, and we try to help you advocate for yourself. Whether it's providing a doula. So we have the Bronx Doula Access Project. We provide free doula services for Bronx birthing persons. And a doula could be in the room with you, and you're busy and stressed with what's happening. They can speak to you about what's happening and also help you advocate for yourself, because they know the process in the hospital, what to expect, what's happening at labor in the hospital, et cetera.
Yeah. So Evelyn, for yourself, when people come to see you, talk to me about some of the things that you're finding most common amongst the people who come to see you in terms of services that they need.
Diapers. Sometimes when they get to the office or call, they said, oh, I called in because I don't have diapers, so I need to know how to get the diapers. Or I don't have a pack and plate. So this is the common calls we have. And also we have different type of calls. 2 weeks ago, I have a call from a man. He need a service we don't have. So the way we do is we call all the agencies to see if they have the service, and then they refer to that organization. Yeah.
And when we talk about diapers, I mean, obviously that's a basic need for most parents and most families.
Yeah.
But with the population that we have, give me your estimate on how many people that you service that actually come in that need diapers.
Oh, I would say probably 85% of the folks that come to us want diapers specifically. That is what they ask for. Because, you know, you can go through hundreds of diapers in 1 month, right? 8 to 12 a day, depending on how young the baby is. That translates to a lot of money. And, you know, we're happy to help with our programming and services, and partnering with other organizations that also give away, you know, diapers, crebettes. There are other organizations. So we're the Bronx Health Link, and one of the things I want to be is a link. So if we can't provide you with the help that you need, we want to be able to link you to the organization that can. So we also want to be a resource hub for our communities as well.
The impact that on families these days, I mean, obviously with the lack of diapers, maternal challenges, stuff like that. For those who don't know, talk to us about the impact that you're seeing, you know, on families these days.
So for example, we do a lot of community outreach. And one of the things that always surprises folks who come to these events is that there are so many organizations, agencies that are there to provide help. And so some of the things that we come across when you have a family that's struggling and they come across the help that either we provide or we direct them to, they're always so grateful. And one of the things we want to do is have a continual relationship with the folks that we help. So it's not about, here's the workshop, take your box of diapers, see you, good luck, right? It's also continue to communicate with us. What else do you need? Because it does take a village, right, to raise a child. That's the refrain. We want to be part of that village. So when we know for a fact that everyone is struggling pretty much, right? The economy, right? But we want to also help you with the things that we can, not just from items like we have diaper bags and we provide crebettes, et cetera, but we also want to direct you to services like WIC, services where there's maybe mental health support that you can receive. We know that for at least Latinx birthing persons, it's the #1 cause of mortality, mental health. So we want to direct you to these different spaces. And so what we come across mostly is gratitude, surprise that these things exist, and then a lot of gratitude.
Right. Yeah. So for yourself, obviously very gratifying to do the work, you know, to be able to be of assistance. Does it ever shock you, the amount of people that have to come through the door who actually need it? I know that we've been talking with a lot of community-based organizations and service providers that since COVID, those numbers have actually increased.
Of course. It's amazing the amount of people that call and come to the office seeking for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in a place where you have to turn away a lot of people too?
Oh, that's the point of us being a resource. I really don't like to turn anybody away. We try not to. I think we haven't yet. If we cannot provide you with the need that you have, we try to point you to a space that does. We communicate directly. We also, there's like this family network connection program that the city has, where we can refer them to city free city services, and then we can track it, which makes it so attractive, right? So I can put your name into the system for whatever service that you're looking for, and I can make sure it's a closed loop system, so I can track the progress to make sure that you're actually being given the services. So as far as turning people away, we really try not to turn people away at all.
Right.
We wouldn't be doing our jobs.
Right.
And I think it's not just the help, it's the continuously support, you know, that you're not coming here just for a diaper. We are here for you,
Right.
you know.
It's the journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And really helping people through the journey, whether
Yeah.
you're a young mother or someone that's more experienced. I think, you know, we all
From
have a journey.
prenatal to college, we're here.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you for the work that you're doing. And we want to
Thank
thank
you.
Dr. Shirley Leyro and also Evelyn Caceres. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All righty. Now, listen, if you want more information, do me a favor. Visit the website, BronxHealthLink.org. You can find a list of flyers, information, all the stuff that you need to be able to connect you for parents, mothers, families. Go ahead and check it out. We encourage you also, don't go anywhere. Guess what? We got more open coming up right after this.
%19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
And welcome back. The South Bronx Early College Academy Charter School is dedicated to providing a rigorous and comprehensive liberal arts education to students in the South Bronx. Navigating the high school admissions process, well, it can be a daunting task. And for middle schoolers and their families, needing assistance and getting assistance is crucial. Recognizing this, the SBECA begins offering support during the summer. And joining us now is the South Bronx Early College Academy's Vice Principal, Takia Robinson, and then we've got data coordinator, instructional coach, I should say, Tyree Alexander. That's a lot for a title right there, man. But it's good. Well, thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
It really is. We talk a little bit about this. I'll do ladies first, right? You know, that college process is always daunting.
Right.
And I think that when you get into school, the first thing you're worried about is graduating, and then you got in the back of the mind, really, how am I going to navigate college? But, you know, your institution does a great job of really doing both, preparing people for where they are and then also where they're headed.
Right. We are a 6 to 8 middle school, and our title is the South Bronx Early College Academy. So we are thinking about beyond just middle school, and it's a difficult time for our students, but really getting our students equipped to advocate for themselves and get to know their strengths, their weaknesses, their likes and dislikes when choosing the high school and then eventually choosing a college in a few years, or a career path or anything else. We like to think about it as the beyond.
Right.
So yeah, we tried to curate an experience to help students and families pick what's best for them.
Yeah. For yourself, obviously working with students, that's the job, right? Really helping them really be in that place. Talk to me about how you guys offer like this early support for admissions and the things that are going on?
Yeah, the support actually begins before they even start with us on the first day.
Okay.
So we have a summer camp where we invite all prospective students and we expose them to a variety of electives. And the point of that is to see what their interests are, what they gravitate towards, what they dislike, and help them discover their own interest and passions. And we continue to do that throughout their matriculation in our school. They continue to take electives, they continue to get individualized support, and all that time we're collecting data on that student and we're building a student profile.
So I tell people I'm out of the game, right? Because my son is 25. But talk to me a little bit about what the process is like, the admissions process is like, and how things actually changed and what people really need to know.
Yeah, the admissions process is like notoriously difficult in New York City.
Yeah.
It is a lot of information for families to take in at once, and there are lots of guidelines for them to follow, and it can be super overwhelming. A lot of times families might just feel like they have to resort to the local high school, and that might not be the best fit for their child. Although there are a lot of great local options, there might be a high school that's significantly a better fit a little bit further away.
Right.
It might be a train ride away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can make all the difference in the world, right?
Exactly.
So having the options there are really critical. Talk to me about summer programs, because obviously there's some summer programs that you have in place right now.
Right. So again, we invite prospective families, so rising sixth graders, to join us over the summer. Again, with those electives. Right now, they're playing pickleball. And I watched the tournament yesterday, and it was amazing.
Really?
But again, we have students in for a summer program. We get to know the fifth graders. That will be our sixth graders, and we also get our eighth graders who are about to be ninth graders in some of these amazing high schools in New York City. We give them another chance to, one, make sure that the high school that they chose was the best fit, but also give them some working experience. So some of them are our junior counselors.
Right. How critical is it, from your perspective, the summer preparation?
Super critical. You can have these conversations with families in the summer without the pressure of schoolwork and without the pressure of like academic timelines. So we invite all 7th grade families or rising 8th grade families to have one-on-one meetings with our counselors over the summer. And during that time, we have conversations with the families about like, what are your must-haves when it comes to a high school? Meaning like every high school we look at must have these things, and then what are your nice-to-haves? Like things that would be really nice for your student to have when they enter into their high school. And every family gets that one-on-one meeting.
Common mistakes people make.
Common mistakes people make. Choosing the local option.
Right.
Sometimes, again, is not the best fit for that student. But because of safety, some families are like, I know that my student is 10 minutes walking distance away. But that student might be very passionate about art, and that high school is 30 minutes on the train. I think the reason, again, that we bring our families in over the summer is so our counselors and our school administration could get families to feel comfortable with giving students the full access to New York City. There are so many high schools to choose from. We don't want them to be limited just because of lack of knowledge in some cases.
Yeah. And when we talk about that admissions process, I know that's just, that's your specialty. What are we seeing parents and families missing out on when it comes to the admissions process?
Yeah, access to the information around the dates, the guidelines, and the expectations. I think the biggest thing that families struggle with is understanding all the admissions criteria for different types of schools and the importance of ranking your schools in a specific order, in your order of preference. So oftentimes, families sometimes are under the impression that it works like college, where you'll get acceptances from multiple schools and you get to choose, and it does not work that way. The applications are sent out in the order in which you apply to them. So if you get into your second school, you will not hear from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th school on your list. So whittling down all your options to your top 12 and then making sure that you are strategically ranking them and you're choosing schools that are not only a good fit for you, but you are also a good fit for that school community.
You're going to have to choose which one's going to do this one right here. Right? But I want you to speak to parents out there, right, or family members, because we know that this process is, laborious. I don't know. And sometimes people feel ignorant, right? Yeah. And they don't want to ask the right questions. So I want you to speak to me as if I were a parent. What would you tell me? Whoever, I threw it out there. What was going to do it?
Maybe it's a tag team.
Right. Maybe it's a tag team. But talk to me as though I'm a novice, and I want to know that I'm not stupid in this, because sometimes I don't ask the right question because I feel like I don't want to look stupid.
I think the conversation begins with your child.
Yeah.
Like while your child is now 13 or 14, the reality is that you're making a decision that's going to impact them well into their 17 or 18. So start having a conversation with your child about what they hope to get out of high school, what they're interested in, and then begin asking questions about what schools can offer that.
I do you want me to repeat it?
No, you said tag team. I was like,
Repeat
okay.
it. The other thing is, like, again, I want to reiterate the idea of understanding your child's strengths, weaknesses, likes, and dislikes, and then literally deciding which school will cater to that, and that would be the best fit for them.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about after COVID, right? You know, a lot of students were behind Zoom, behind the computer, and and their families out there are saying that the learning curve has changed, right? Some on a downward spiral because there was no in-person class. For you who are in the classroom and seeing students come across, what's it been like since COVID? Are you noticing a lapse and need to make up, or are students really where they need to be?
I think there was an adjustment period. I don't want to say that there was a lapse. I think that Zoom and the internet provided an opportunity and is a tool and resource that we need to capitalize on still today. So it was an adjustment period for families, for students, and even educators. And I think that at this point we've decided, or we're still working on how we could utilize that online platform in our day-to-day today.
Yeah.
So one thing that we've used to our advantage is that all families can't come into the building for that additional high school application support, but we can resort to using Zoom, Google Meet, or even a FaceTime call. So we try to make sure that we have every avenue to get families in, whether it be physically or through a screen.
Yeah, let me follow up with this then. Families with technology. We knew that was huge things too, right? A lot of families didn't have the computer, the iPad, the Wi-Fi access, things like that. Some parents are just struggling to pay rent, much less be able to afford Wi-Fi. Are you finding that those challenges still exist amongst the students that you're dealing with when it comes to access to the digital and the digital divide?
Those challenges definitely exist, and we address them by providing laptops not only in the school, but students also have laptops that they can take home and keep once they graduate. So we try and address that from the moment they enter our school building.
We also provide them with additional resources to get that internet access if they need it through outside organizations.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times when I'm talking on this platform here, hearing some of the struggles from educators is, hey, you know, students have the access because we give them, but if you take it back home, there's a lack of, and sometimes family members are using the student's computer just to be able to, you know, just to be able to survive. And you know, as we say on the block, the struggle is real.
Yeah,
but we just don't. But we just don't always acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's, again, understanding and getting to know the family and the student and their needs, and then providing them with the necessary resources and guidelines to actually, you know, still remain a part of, you know, the family, the team.
Right. So Taki, I'll ask you this: as we're in August, it's almost time for school to start. I know, right? You're right. It's right around the corner. What's it like for you, and what do you want parents and students to know?
Oh, we're ready. We're excited. The school year is actually around the corner. So rest up and let's get ready.
We have seats available. If you want to come and join our family, go ahead and visit us at specacs.org and come and join the Speca family.
You're so cool. You're like, we're ready. We're available. No, it's summer. I need a break. I need a few days. I mean, come see me in a few weeks.
Yeah, around the corner.
Around the corner, right? Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Continue up the great work, and certainly come on back and see us, and hopefully we can get people navigated through the process. But great work, y'all.
All right, thank you
We
so
will.
much.
Thank
All
you.
righty. We got Takia and Tyree. Listen, if you want more information, visit the website at sbecacs.org, and you can find out all the information you need to know there. We encourage you, please don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. %5 of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. 34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
And welcome back. NYC Kids Rise is a not-for-profit organization providing families, schools, and communities with a way to work together to invest in and save for their children's future. The organization aims to make attending and graduating from college and career training more achievable for all New York City public school students, regardless of where their family income or immigration status. Joining me now is the Chief of Staff at NYC Kids Rise, Jacqueline Matos, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Giving kids a chance, right? That's what it's about.
This is what it's about.
Equity, if you will.
Yes.
And so for you, talk to me a little bit about this here, because there is this platform and this work that's really being done to make sure that all kids can get across the finish line.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you actually just referred to it as a platform, because that's definitely how we, think about the
Right.
Safer College program, as this platform that communities and everyone can plug in to make sure that our students are able to achieve their dreams, college and career, whatever they aspire to be. And so really, this is a community tool. Mm-hmm. This is a community tool for neighborhoods to use to build wealth in their neighborhoods, and again, to support the dreams of students.
Walk me through a little bit the Safer College program.
Yeah, definitely. So the Safer College program, really the journey here for families begins in kindergarten. So what it now means to go to public school in New York City is that starting in kindergarten, unless a family chooses to not participate, students are automatically getting what we call an NYC scholarship account. So an NYC scholarship account is actually an account that's a New York 529 plan, and these are accounts that are specifically dedicated for higher education, expenses. But families are automatically, the children automatically receive this account, again, unless the families choose to opt out. And in it is an initial seed funding of $100, and then there's different ways for families to earn more scholarship dollars throughout, the child's journey, and a way for communities to also come together to contribute to the funds of students as well. So it's been really exciting. We just completed our third year citywide, so still pretty new. And already we have 200,000 students participating in the program across the city, with over $30 million already accumulated in NYC scholarship accounts. And that includes over 42,000 students right here in the Bronx, and already almost $6 million already accumulated in the accounts of students right here in the Bronx as well.
What's the buy-in like on the parts of families and students to the program?
Yeah, definitely. So again, it's an opt-out program. I think a lot of, when you think about different programs, okay, I'm going to sign up for this thing.
Right.
So it's a little bit of it's an other way around,
Right.
And so because of that, we have, very little folks, opt out. So the majority of students, again, have these accounts unless families, again, choose to participate. But overall, that number is, very, very low.
Right. Recently, it was about $400,000 raised, right?
Yes.
And so let's talk about that.
Yes. So that is through, again, the community aspect of this. I think, maybe I'm biased, but it's actually, I think, the most exciting part to me about this platform. And so again, because we've set it up in this way, communities can come together to actually contribute to the accounts of students. So this past year, we had what we called an inaugural. It was the inaugural NYC Public School Alumni Community Scholarship. And so really, I think it demonstrates really this core aspect of the platform. And so alumni came together from all across all 5 boroughs, including 7 alumni from the Bronx, to either raise or donate funds back to their schools. So kind of a way to give back to the younger generation that's coming up, and to really demonstrate that, it's about the assets, right? We want to try and get as much funds into the accounts as possible, but it's also really about this like reinforcement piece, starting from a young age, starting from kindergarten. You already know that you have this resource that's there waiting for you, and so for the alumni to be able to come together and give back in that way and be able to kind of engage with the students as well and be like, I sat in this seat. You're very proud New York City public school alumni. Like, I sat in your seat, and variety of backgrounds doing amazing things, and to be able to kind of give back in that way was really amazing.
And it gives an opportunity also to really address what we call the educational inequality that exists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still out there. It's very present, and it's
Definitely.
very prevalent. From your light, talk to me about the educational inequality and the work that you do and how that really just cuts into that.
Right, definitely. We know that higher education and access to higher education really is a critical component to increasing, economic mobility. We also know, as you were just mentioning, that not everyone has the same access to that, and so this really is leveling the playing field. This is universal. This is for everyone, as you mentioned, regardless of income, regardless of immigration status.
Right.
And we also know that studies have shown that even having small dollars in college savings account can really support students to not only go to school, go to college, but also graduate later on. And so this really is cutting at that core and supporting all New York City public school families and their journey starting very, very early.
You talk about the journey, but how are we able to track the journey and see where things are? What's the tracking process like?
Yeah, definitely. So we actually started as a pilot program in School District 30 before the program was expanded citywide 3 years ago. And so our oldest students are about to enter 7th grade, and more so citywide, we're K through 3 beginning this school year. The way that we're thinking about tracking, again, studies, a lot of the program is based on studies, again, that have shown that, having, again, these small dollars, also other studies have shown these kind of like non-tuition expenses, those unexpected expenses that come in later, really do sometimes contribute to students not, completing their education or dropping out. And so one of the key things that we're looking for and looking at is just, making sure that families, know that this exists, again, still relatively new, but are actually taking some of the foundational steps in our program, including activating and viewing their accounts. So we work with all of the schools to make sure that they're providing the information to families and making sure that they are actually supporting them, and we do as well from our team, but supporting them to actually activate and view their account and engage with the platform in that way, because part of it is also seeing it, making sure that families and students too, as they get older, which I'm really excited about, know that they have these accounts and are able to understand what that means for them.
Are there any guidelines for the accounts? What are the guidelines in terms of the accounts?
Yeah, in terms of eligibility, again, if you go to a New York City public school, again, the eligibility for this school year will be K through 3. So if you're a parent of a kindergartner, first grader, second or third grader entering this school year, you are eligible to participate in the program. Again, it's regardless of income or immigration status. We also have participating charter schools. So the majority of the charter schools throughout the city are also participating. And so that's the criteria. You're in a public school, you're in those grades, you're eligible to participate in the program. And in fact, if you're in first through third grade going to the school year, you already most likely have your NYC scholarship account. So you should go activate and view it.
Right. From your perspective, how big an impact is this?
I mean, I think, again, the breadth, this is just such a huge and diverse, public school system. I think I personally have had the pleasure of working directly with families. We had this amazing event actually at PS 85 in Fordham Heights in January. And just seeing the look on families' faces when they activate and view their child's account and seeing that there's already funds there. And as this example through like the alumni community scholarship, seeing that the community has come together and also contributed to their child's account. It's a very powerful thing, and it's a very tangible thing. And so having that experience of watching families and students realize that their community is behind them, that they're not alone, has been really, really a beautiful thing. And we're now excited that we're citywide and learning all about different communities and getting to know folks. And so, I think the impact, again, starting at a very young age and knowing the families knowing that they have this support, I think has been really important.
Are you optimistic that possibly you can see this be replicated outside the city?
Well, we're like taking city domination, and then like others, other cities and states definitely it's like expansion. But different states have other, there's different models or versions of college savings account programs that exist throughout the country. Ours is very, very unique, and so we're working on conquering New York City, making sure that families within New York City, build the awareness here. But as they say, if you can do it here, you can do it anywhere.
Right.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
truth. And honestly, the college experience is so tough already. Really just navigating the process of just getting into school.
Right.
I think one of the biggest barriers sometimes that people do have is really the finances. And as we look, tuition is not going down.
Right.
It is definitely going up. So,
Right.
You're really, providing a much needed bridge in a time when we're seeing tuition rising and pockets going the other way.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And again, it's knowing that resource is there. And again, our goal and making sure the communities know and are able to contribute. I mean, our goal is to, help as many families, as possible. And again, know that at a very young age, the students, that they have something there. And we're really excited to see what they end up doing.
How can the community contribute right now?
Yes, definitely. So the beautiful thing is that anybody can do a community scholarship, right? So this could be a local bank. This could be, school community. This could be a parent. This could be, we've seen many different examples. We've seen houses of worship come together to, raise funds to be contributed to students' accounts. So really, it can be anything. And then the alumni example, again, that was the first time we've done something like that. So I would say if anybody's interested in leading a community scholarship, they should definitely contact us and look at our site, nyckidsrise.org, or give us a call. And we can definitely support them if they're interested in launching their own community scholarship or contributing to the community scholarships overall.
Of all the things that you're doing with this program, what makes you the proudest?
I'm proud. Again, it's very new. And so I'm just proud of everyone and how the community has rallied and come together. I'm proud when I see examples of folks plugging into the platform. I'm proud when I see school stakeholders, really embrace this. I'm proud, of our families who are doing so much, on a daily basis, kind of really taking advantage and learning more about the program. So it's certainly a lot to be proud of, and we're really excited to see where this all goes and to continue to work in community.
We're proud there's an opportunity out there for students. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah.
Got to come back and give us an update.
I will.
All right, Jacqueline Matos with us. All righty. Now listen, for more information, visit the website at nyckidsrise.org. And we hate to tell you that we've come to the end of our show today. We want to thank all of our guests for joining us. Most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch Recablecast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. Now, if you are looking to catch a brand new episode of Open, come back on Friday. My girl, Rena Valentine, Cafe Con Leche. She will have all with arts, entertainment, and then some. That about wraps up this episode for us. I am Daren Jaime telling you, make sure keep this channel wide open. We say take care, God bless, see you real soon.